This is the Fifth Estate Winning Headlines, your media police post. In this segment, we summarize some of the headlines that you may have missed this morning. But we also take a look at some of the political pieces in this country that we call cartoons. Today is the 5th of July 2019 and I am 2M.
I am Miss K.
And I am 2J. Again, in case you missed it, this is Winning Headlines. Let's take a look at today's headlines.
The Standard, DP's aid, I got Lamada's secret tips. Daily Nation,
Yes.
Kolimo's final hours with Uhuru, and The Star, goodbye Bob.
Oh man.
I say we start with the two newspapers that have a similar headline, Daily Nation and The Star.
Yeah.
Goodbye Bob Kolimo and Kolimo's final hours with Uhuru.
So, of course, the context is yesterday was the service
Yes.
at All Saints Cathedral for Bob Collymore, where a lot of people were present,
Yes.
President included.
Yes.
But I think it's time that we let this story pass. I think it's time for his family to start mourning and to start grieving and to have their private process.
Absolutely.
He's a private man. Let's now let him continue with his private life. But I would like to comment that it is very interesting that even in all his privacy, he had a great summoning power. Did you see the people who were present at his service?
The former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Tony Blair.
Yes, and Kenya's glitterati.
I love it. Glitterati.
You had the president.
Some more to be seen than to be heard.
You had the deputy president, you had 3 vice presidents, you had MPs, you have captains of industry, you had musicians, you have artists, you even had acrobats. With everybody there.
Yeah, I think it really speaks to the kind of person that he was. He was well respected.
It's true, and I think we'll end with what Nick Haley, British High Commissioner, just left, said. When we look back at lives, what we remember in the world, it's not the longest ones we remember, but the ones with the greatest impact. I think
I like that. Yeah,
he had good impact.
Say though, I like the headline by The Star. I do.
I know. Goodbye, Bob. Short and to the point.
Yeah.
So what do we say about these headlines? Although there really is nothing much we can say, but we will bring back our audience to our criteria, and we have a 3-part criteria that we use to break down all headlines for you. We ask ourselves 2 questions. Is the headline topical or is it speculative? Is it repetitive or is it groundbreaking? And finally, is it thoughtful or just plain lazy?
Yes.
I say The Star is thoughtful, but it can be a winning headline.
Yes.
Because the story is now repetitive.
Absolutely.
Yes, most definitely.
So
but again, still, in respect,
we're not tossing. In respect. And look at our final and most juicy headline. DP's aid, I got Lamada's secret tips.
Oh my
Dennis
goodness.
Itumbi.
The story, the turns and the twists, it doesn't stop.
Whoever is advising the egg, Mr. Egg, brilliant.
I think you need to explain for our audience why you call Itumbi an egg.
Because in Kikuyu, Itumbi ni matube. Matube, Itube.
So
it's
one egg. One egg.
That's why I call him Mr. Egg. Anyway, but whoever is advising him, or out of his own cleverness, clever plot.
Yeah.
Now, what he's doing is he's planting the seeds of suspicion by saying that there's a recording, an audio, and a video of the recording at Lamada on the 14th of May that plotted the assassination of the deputy president. Is very clever. Look, background.
Yes.
Dennis Itumbi has once been put in cell by DCI for purportedly leaking the list of witnesses on the ICC case, and he hacked the system.
Wow.
Now, what is this? This has no...
A fake letter.
This is no international jurisdiction. This is local. We will just sort it out here. But what he's also doing is this. He's comparing the Committee of Assassins and part of the CS to what was there in the 70s, a group called the Ngorokos, headed by one James Mungai. Second, what he's also doing, he's also creating mistrust. If at all that meeting happened, the people, the Committee of Assassins that met, one of them or all of them must be asking themselves, who amongst us leaked that audio? If at all there was any.
People are shaking,
I mean, very clever.
It is very clever.
He's shifting the theater of war, and not just in the court of public opinion, but also in the heads of a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with you. The seed of mistrust has been planted, and I will say this for Kenyans: the politics of this weekend will be dictated by this story.
Absolutely.
These tapes, and whatever happens, or whoever thinks the calls that are being made. Was it you? Did we keep our phones outside?
Yes.
I don't know what Monday portends, but it's interesting times ahead.
It's interesting because this assassination story, it was beginning to die down. We were getting bored of it, if we're quite honest.
Yes.
And now it's taken this very interesting turn, and I'm excited to see where it
and
goes
I'd ask
next.
the court, please let him release them, and because courts are public, courts of public record, please play it for us. I'd love to hear what was on it.
Let me tell you, if I was a boss at the house on the hill, I'll place a call to a Meru friend at Karura and tell him kill this thing.
Was Sonko one of the people said to be there? Considering that we know he likes to
recording artist. I don't know. This is our latest tape. CD about to drop on Monday. I love it. I think this is our winning headline.
I agree.
I say the story is funny. It's interesting. It gives a new twist. A twist that I really want
we're
to
excited.
hear.
Yeah,
absolutely.
All right.
So do we agree?
We agree.
Oh yes.
This is our winning headline from the Standard. On to our next segment, the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. And just like the headlines, we have a 3-part criteria that we use to break them down for you. We ask ourselves, is the cartoon humorous or is it dry? Is it satirical or is it pessimistic? And finally, is it effective or just plain lazy? I see you've begun with the star.
Ozone. Brilliant cartoon. Brilliant. But before I
After thinking so low like yesterday, he had to do something.
He redeemed himself,
Describe it.
Let me describe it. Caricature of one William Ruto, Deputy President.
The way he draws his nose is so disrespectful.
Looks like a tear. But next to him is a cop, who I believe is DCI Kinoti, because he's the one investigating.
Big magnifying glass.
With a big magnifying glass. And the caption there is, police zeroing in on who is trying to kill Ruto. And you can see the track is leading to who?
To Ruto.
And what is Ruto carrying?
It looks like a death note.
It's like a death note.
Maybe,
but he's also scratching his head, like, wondering what's going on.
Yes, but they're going around in circles, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think when you look at the police officer, he looks very incompetent. He's not even looking through the glass,
the glass itself, the magnifier. He's looking at the side of it, yet he's holding this ridiculously huge magnifying glass. I have to agree. It is a funny cartoon.
Yeah, but why is Ruto scratching his head?
Because he's...
Or maybe he's feigning confusion.
Yeah.
He doesn't know where to go next?
No, I think he's pretending that he doesn't know. I think
doesn't know.
Ozone is trying to tell us that Ruto is the one behind these claims.
But that is
because all roads lead to him.
And I agree. But and that is probably the genius of William Ruto.
That's very true.
The genius. You don't see him coming his steps ahead of Kinoti and DCI.
Let's take a look at another one.
Put it in the parking bench. Let's see what else is out there.
Yeah. Oh, wow. All right, caricature of the late Tomboya.
Yes.
And the caption there by Gado, he says, I can tell character assassination from assassination of a character 5 decades ago. It's not about himself. You have context of this.
Yeah, so the context of this is that the 5th of July, today celebrates 50 years since the passing of Tomboya.
The assassination.
The assassination, yes, true, yes.
This is deep.
It is deep, it is. And I think it's really interesting because we have the same context 50 years ago as we do today. Assassination claims then, an assassination that happened 50 years ago.
But also it's evidence that even as we say that the assassination claims are fake, as the death note that Ozone is alluding to says, assassination attempts can be real, as happened in the case of
that's true. So as much as we joke about this or we're very interested in the juicy gossip of it,
it can be
a reality.
And it can have big and very impactful ramifications.
That is a point from Gado.
I would say I like the cartoon.
Deep.
It's very deep. But I don't know. I say it goes away.
I would say it goes away as well.
It goes away. I won't say any other words. Just say it goes away.
Wow. Mr. Egg on a computer. Caricature of him. Let me see.
Typing away.
Typing away. And he's sitting on a seat labeled Team Ruto. His socks red and yellow.
Because he's not sure which is his identity.
Yes.
I love it.
He is scanning a fuming. I don't know whether he's a fuming.
He is fuming.
He's fuming. He's even changed color.
William Ruto. But you can see the scanner on the computer is
what it's revealing.
It's revealing something else. What is it?
2022 underwear.
And it's what color?
Yellow. I think this is fantastic. And wait, and what is Mr. Egg saying?
Oops.
I think I showed too much.
It's great. I think the point is, as we said, is Itumbi a fanatic? You know, what is he? Did he go too far in his attempt to...
Do you know Itumbi is known as a hacker? That is why he is scanning William Ruto.
Yeah.
But he was hacking the system.
And he went
with one intention, yeah.
He was hacking the system, but he had unintended consequences.
He went in too
And the
deep.
results he showed was what?
2022 underwear.
Underwear.
All right.
Okay, I think it's Ruto versus Ruto and Itumbi.
Yeah, it is the same. I'm going to go with Njula. Tuam, what do you say?
Oh my God, I don't know, man.
What if we call it a tie, considering that there are two cartoons on the same topic?
Yeah.
I say let's call it a tie.
No, I like Ndula, man. This is.
Are you guys serious? I say, okay, here's the thing.
Yeah.
I do find this extremely hilarious, and I also do find that extremely effective and quite funny.
Yes.
I'd say a tie.
I agree on the tie. Yes? A tie it is.
Time.
It's like you tied me into that tie. What is our final thought?
All right, I'll say. And now our final thought, inspired by a book entitled "The Beautiful Ones Are Not Yet Born" by Ai Koi Ama. Chap is from Ghana. The old man is from Ghana.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's how they pronounce it. We'll go with what you said.
It's from
Yeah,
Ghana.
so this is a further continuation of the African Writer series.
Yes.
This book was written in 1968. So the book follows an unnamed protagonist who is called the Man, and that's how he's referred to throughout the book,
Yes.
who struggles to reconcile himself with the reality of a post-colonial Ghana.
Right.
So the novel takes place between Easter 1965 and February 1966, when Ghana's first president, Kwame Nkrumah, was ousted from office.
Yeah.
So the plot focuses on the man's struggle to love and support his country while resisting Ghana's rampant government corruption.
Yes.
So Arma's novel is considered a rebuke of African leaders who blatantly abuse office for personal gain while portraying themselves as champions for African solidarity and sovereignty.
Wow.
So the man is a representation of a struggle for honesty and integrity.
Yes.
He despises corruption and he does not support it.
Yes.
But unfortunately, his honor makes his life very hard.
Yes.
He's perceived as a fool and a failure by his colleagues and his family. In fact, his wife calls him a
Chichidodo.
Yes, you can explain that after. But by the end of the book, his self-doubts are resolved unexpectedly when the government coup happens.
Yeah.
So throughout the book, he's grappling with these issues of corruption and how he doesn't want to partake in it.
Yeah.
But this the coup scandal ends up solving that issue for him because it, enters a new light into where the country might be going into.
Yes.
So this book is what is considered a morality tale.
Wow.
Yes.
The characters are important for what they symbolize rather than for who they are. So every character represents a different faction of what a Ghanaian person would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think this week we've taken you through the post-colonial experience that we've had in Africa. We began in East Africa and in Kenya in particular, and specifically with the Gema community in Ngugi wa Thiong'o's The River Between. We then went to Nigeria with Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart.
Yes.
We landed in a bit of the French colonial experience with La Boue de Bois de Dieu.
Hey.
Can you believe it?
Okay, let me say it again. Let me say it.
Go.
Le bois,
Le bois.
le bout de doigts.
Never mind, moving on.
God's Bits of Woods by Sembene Osman. And then yesterday we went through a very dark South Africa with Steve because I write what I like.
Yeah.
I think that we have to notice about all of these authors and a lot of the post-colonial books is that they were very, very, very pessimistic. Pessimistic in their titles and pessimistic in the content with which they spoke about. And I say it must go back to what happened in the 60s. Ghana was one of the first countries to get independence. They got independence in 1957 and they were a champion for the rest of Africa, a beacon. Everyone else looked to Ghana when they were having their fights for independence.
Yeah.
Yes.
But here's the thing, that euphoria that came with with independence and that euphoria that came with being liberated from your colonial masters then sank into disillusionment that came with the new regimes that came in place or with the way they were ousted. The 60s are also the era of a lot of military coups, as happened in Ghana. And I think that pessimism, if we were to have an apex, like the most pessimistic book of them all would be today's book.
I agree.
Ironically, today is Inspirational Friday, but our most pessimistic book of the era of the 60s is Ayi Kwei Ama's The Beautiful Ones Are Not Yet Born. Because he exposes, and I think we've said this, the dirty laundry of Ghana, takes it and then puts it out there for the world. To the criticism of Chinua Achebe. Now, Chinua Achebe criticized the author himself by saying, you left Ghana, you went to America, finished high school, you went to Harvard University, then you take it upon yourself to write about the experience of your home native Ghana in such negative light.
In fact, you call him the alienated native.
Yes, he called him an alienated native. Because the thing that you will get when you read this book is the imagery. It is very, very vulgar. Not vulgar in using sexual connotation, but vulgar in its depiction of Ghana at the time, and using excrement everywhere to give you this imagery of a very dirty, filthy, corrupt place in which now you juxtapose this society in which you have people who are now corrupt. It's a national game or a sport of corruption versus a person who is putting himself not quite engaging in it, but also not quite refusing it. So the man is a confused person.
You know, I want to compare the protagonist, this man you call the man, with our own Givongo.
Wow.
And it is because
just put it out there.
In my view, I think the protagonist has not realized that the original sin, the reason why he sees immorality, corruption and chronism, it is not because it was our choice, it was by design. You see, in my view, the second scramble of Africa, yes, and I admit, it happened post-independence, right? We ran for resources because that is how we were designed to have to do it by the Brits, right? The Brits constructed the Rhodesian state, which was extractionist in nature.
And we continued to do it even after they
left. We perpetuated it. So what the hell did he expect?
Oh my gosh! Did you just say that?
Yes. What did he expect?
Okay.
Look, you see, there's a reason why his wife Oyo called him Chichidodo. Please describe what Chichidodo is before. So
Chichidodo is this bird that likes to eat maggots but hates poop. Yet that's exactly where you'll find maggots. So it just wants all the trappings of glory but none of the work, and that's what she thought.
And I think that was part of the irony of the man, is that he was he was enamored by wealth. He was interested in it, but he didn't want to have to do the things at that time in order to get what he needed.
I mean, in my view, I think it was pretentious. Because look, Oyo, his wife, had no qualms signing contracts with what is his name?
Kumsan.
Joseph Kumsum, a minister that was in class with
the husband, the man.
And I want to ask this. Our generation, and I've had this before, our generation blames their grandfathers for not taking part in the colonial opportunity that was there in 1963. I don't blame Jomo Kenyatta for doing what he did. I don't blame Biko Nange for doing what he did. They did what was according to the rules. And the rules were not published by them, they were published by the Queen.
I completely agree with you. I think that yes, I do. I think that in the context of this book, at the time that it was written, post-colonial experience, there is no virtue in virtue. As in, there's honestly no point. I think that he was wallowing in his sorrows, seeing the riches that he wanted to have with his friend, and just not choosing to not pursue it.
Okay, here's the thing, and I'm going to throw a spanner in your works, because I don't feel like this book is just the post-colonial experience. I feel like this is a reflection of who we are right now. Every week we're always complaining about the rotational headlines that we have. It's either education, corruption, or politics. And those are rotational headlines, and we have them. But here's the thing. What the man did was that he got a tender from his friend. Please tell me we don't understand that language here as Kenyans.
It's okay.
Niko na tender, kuja, tutafanya kazi na tutapata pesa.
Tender is not a sin.
That is the beginning of the NYS scandals. That is the beginning of all of those things that we keep seeing on the papers. And this is how they begin. hold up, just go with this story with me. They begin with a tender, and your friend who was in high school with you, called Joseph Kum's son, who then tells you, tufanye hivi. To him, you'll be the face of the thing, but I will make sure that we will pass through procurement. Yes. We will get it. You're sour. Lakini sasa, here's the problem. The man, known as 2M, is like, apana. But I don't really know why I'm saying no.
Say the man, me, I don't know whether I can
No, hold on. You don't know why you're saying no. You go home and Oyo, your wife, is looking at your house in Buruburu and thinking, we could be living in Karen.
Can you imagine?
We could be living in Karen.
That is my point.
That is my point. So she signs it.
And
that's how we are today. But then, when the scandal comes out on the paper,
who's on the front cover?
2J is looking at, wow. 2M, this is what he's been doing. Hata mimi ningepata that tender for 96 million, ningechukua. But every week you're going to church. That contradiction, that inability to know exactly why it is you're not stopping from engaging in corruption.
Let me tell you.
Still being complacent is where we are today.
Let me tell you, Ms. K, corruption is a narrative set by the West. And I really take exception when the British ambassador and all the other Western ambassadors...
Wait, who's taking the moral high ground right now? I'm confused.
She is. And I take a lot of exception. They wake up and they have joint press conferences and says, President Uhuru Kenyatta must fight corruption. Look, I'm not a proponent of it. But
you are the man.
Who created it? Who created corruption?
You are the man.
It was a Rhodesian state. We were created. Goodness. Let me tell you, by the time Jomo was taking power, by the time Nkrumah was taking power, by the time Mugabe was taking power, matter of fact, from the 1960s, there have been 200 coups in Africa. Some of them have succeeded, some of them have not.
All right,
all of them. Let me
I
tell
will
you,
make my final point.
All of them, it is because we had to share the spoils. And I told you guys from Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I told you this. The black man was attracted to the symbols of power of the white man. They did not know. So that is why today, government officials will still wearing Prince strip suits and nice ties and a flower over here. Because they were attracted to the white man's of doing ways. So the British ambassador and other Western ambassadors should not wake up and give us press conferences about telling us to fight corruption.
Before you say this, I just want to say that I am clarifying to you, that my whole story about tenders was that the colonial opportunity still exists. Stop lambasting your grandfather. If at all you want to,
No, me, my grandfather was good. I said my generation.
I will make my final point. For me, the man represents quite a pathetic character, and I will explain why. You just said right now that he wanted to be honorable, but he didn't know why he was doing it. And I think that even by the end of the book, because the coup solves the problem for him,
he still doesn't know why.
No, it proves how pathetic it was. How an unintended consequence was able to solve his problem for him. He wasn't able to do it himself. I think in all the other books that we looked at this week, people were fighting to find solutions. He was a pathetic character who just wallowed in this thing that he didn't understand.
Yes.
That's my...
And high five.
I can't even believe that we have stopped there.
Yes.
This is winning headlines on a day in which we had a tie in the winning cartoon between the Daily Nation and the Star. I fear it may be the same person. And we had a winning headline from the Standard. I will say this. The man was defined not by what he does, by what he does not do. And I have lambasted us as Kenyans, myself included, by being defined by what we do not do, which is stand up for what we think is right and actually know why it is we're standing up for it. And for that, I will say my favorite book of the week this week was, aside from Le Bout de Bois de Dieu, twice is a charm. God's Bits of Woods by Sandhene Osman. My favorite book of this week was Steve Biko's I Write What I Like. And in it, he asks us to be conscious of our blackness. And by being conscious of our blackness, we know what it is that we stand for, we know why we stand for it, and we recreate our history. And by recreating our history, we give ourselves a heritage that we can stand up for, fight for, and protect. And that's what I want to call us to do. Do not be like the man. Do not be like the epitome of pessimism that was defined by the 1960s, of a person who does not know why he is not corrupt, but then again doesn't stop it anyway. Embrace your African self. Embrace your blackness. Be conscious of it. Build up your negative pessimism that you acquired from the colonialists and become a person worth reckoning.
Yes.
Have a great weekend. See you on Monday.